The Talmud states that after the death of the high priest Shimon HaTzedek, or Simon the Righteous, the priest began to cease to use the name out loud. This is recorded in Yoma 30b and also Tosef Sota 13. We also see in the Mishnah Sota 7:6, in the sanctuary, one says the name as it is written. Therefore, again, according to the Ketev, but in the provinces with a euphemism, that is a substitution. Now we know that this substitution that was being used is clearly Adonai. We read this in Kedush 71a. We clearly see it says, not as I am written am I pronounced. Therefore it says literally, not as I am written, according to the Ketev, that is, am I pronounced, or am I called or read aloud, or the Kireh. It says, I am written, that is the Ketev, YHWH, and I am pronounced, that is, I am read aloud, or the Kireh is Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yod, or Adonai. And this is very clear. So therefore, again, it says, not as I am written, am I pronounced. I am written with the letters Yod, He, Wah, He. I am pronounced Aleph, Dalet. And of course, Nun and Yod is inserted. Adonai is what is referring to. This is unanimously known. This is not speculated. This is not questioned. This is universally known in the Jewish world. This is the teaching. This is the oral tradition that was handed down, that was followed by the Masoretes, and they kept this tradition to the T. We see clearly also in Kedush 71a, there is a teaching there concerning the hiding of the name. It reads, this is my name forever, Le'olam, Shemoth, or Exodus chapter 3, verse 15, which is written so that it can be read Le'alem. Now that's because it is written defectively, missing a vowel. Now Le'alem means to hide. The Gemara relates Rava planned to expound and explain the proper way to say the name in a public discourse. A certain elder said to him, it is written so that it can be read Le'alem, indicating that it must stay hidden. Again, because Le'alem means to hide, whereas Le'olam means forever. So they took and distorted the proper reading of the text, where it clearly was meaning Le'olam, and they knew that, but they went for a different interpretation because of the defective spelling in which it was written, so that they said, well, look, it could mean Le'alem, meaning to hide. This is the teaching of the Talmud. This is what the oral tradition clearly is teaching. So we know that the oral tradition tells us and relates to us that there is a Kireh Ketev that is taking place. The Kireh is to be Adonai, but the Ketev, the written form, is going to remain as Yod He Wah He. But we will say Adonai when we see this, and that is what is being taught.
ישראל בטח באדוני יזרמו מגינמו בטהרון ביטחו באדוני יזרמו מגינמו ירא אדוני ביטחו באדוני יזרמו מגינמו אדוני זכרנו יברך יברך את בית ישראל יברך את בית אהרון יברך ירא אדוני הקטנים עם הגדולים יוסף אדוני עליכם עליכם מעל בניכם ברוכים אתם לאדוני עושה שמיים וארץ השמיים שמיים לאדוני והארץ נתן לבני אדם
עוז יושיר משאו בני ישראל עד השיר הזף לאדוני ויאמרו למר אשיר לאדוני כי ג'ו סוס ורחב רמה ביום.
Now, also we see further in Pesakim 50a, 19. It says, the world to come is not like this world. This is the commentary. In this world, Elohim's name that is written with the letters Yod and He is read as Adonai, which begins with the letters Aleph and Dalet. Elohim's name is not pronounced in the same way as it is written. However, in the world to come, it will all be one, as Elohim's name will be both read with the letters Yod and He, referring to YHWH, and they will be read with the letters Yod, He, and Wahe. So therefore, the reading and the writing will be the same. It will not be altered. In other words, in the world to come, they will stop saying Adonai when they see Yod, He, Wahe. They will pronounce it as Yahuwah. That is what the pronunciation is. Therefore, that is what they will be saying. Sanhedrin 10 verse 1 tells us, these are those that have no share in the world to come. And then it lists several different things. And at the end it says that Abba Shaul adds, he who pronounces the name with its proper letters. Therefore, one who reads it according to the letters, that obviously no one had a problem reading it according to the letters in those times. Even today, the Israeli newspaper is printed without vowel points. Vowel points only served to help preserve the pronunciations in a time when Hebrew was being lost as a language, and now as a revived language, it is not really needed. We also see further in Jewish commentaries, such as the Mishnah Berurah 5:2, we read, it is forbidden to read the glorious and terrible name as it is written, as the sages said, he that pronounces the name as it is written. Again, this is talking about the mechanism of the Kireh and the Ketev, what is written versus what they will say out loud. And clearly it says that those who say the name as it is written have no portion in the world to come. And then it states, therefore it must be read as if it were written Adonai. Clearly, we see it must be read, the Kireh versus what is written. The Ketev is Adonai. So then therefore to say that these vowels are the original vowels when we clearly have examples of the full vowels of Adonai in the Masoretic text, this is just insanity, according to what we see here in the clear writings of the Jewish sages concerning this very fact, that they teach that this is what they have done. The Masoretic text contains what is called the Masorah. The Masorah contains lots of notes and traditions and information concerning the text. And we see in the Masorah there are exactly 134 instances where the Masoretic text replaced the name of YHWH, the letters, all together with the letters for Adonai. So therefore, not only was the vowels inserted into YHWH, but there are 134 instances where the name YHWH should appear in the text. But instead, not only do the vowels of Adonai appear, but also the letters of Adonai. We also see in the Isaiah scroll of the Dead Sea Scrolls that well before vowel pointing existed, that Adonai was at times placed above the letters Yod, He, Wahe to indicate that this is the name that should be pronounced rather than the name that is written. So therefore, again, we just see that this is ongoing. The evidence is overwhelming. Originally, the Hebrew text obviously did not contain vowel points. This is clearly demonstrated with the Dead Sea Scrolls, as we've already spoke of. Even to this day, a Torah scroll is not considered kashar or acceptable if it has vowel points. In fact, a famous student of the famous Jewish scholar Rashi, Mazar Vitri, wrote that it would be in violation of the prohibition of adding or taking away from the Torah to add vowel points. The term Adonai is used often in the Hebrew scriptures as a title meaning my master, which was translated often Lord or my Lord. It appears 434 times in the Masoretic text, but remember, 134 times it was actually used by the scribes to replace the name. Therefore, it would have originally appeared only about 300 times. It is spelled Aleph, Dalet, Nun, and Yod in the text. The vowels are Shwa Patak, which together are a compound Shwa that is referred to as Chataf Patak. That is the first vowel. The middle vowel is Holam. The final vowel is kametz. Now this is very important because the primary argument that Yehovah is the correct pronunciation is that when the vowels of Adonai are found within YHWH in the oldest complete Masoretic text, the Leningrad Codex and also the Aleppo Codex, you will see the first vowel reduced. It will be reduced from a compound schwa, which is the hataf patak, reduced down to a simple schwa. Now, many scholars believe this is because Yod rejects compound schwa in grammatical Hebrew. So that is a very important note. And if that is the case, that would explain exactly why this happens and explain why they are saying Yehovah instead of Yahovah. But one of the major things they are saying here is that they believe that because this vowel is reduced, it is no longer the same vowel. Therefore, this is not actually the vowel points of Adonai, but rather the genuine vowels of the Creator's name. We must understand that the Masoretes shared the same scribal customs and scribal understandings of the text. Therefore, we should look at the Masoretic text as a collection of documents to better understand these scribal customs. If we examine a fragment of the Masoretic text from the Geniza collection in Cambridge University, TSA 39.11, written by Salon ben Abraham in 953 to 954 CE, we will see with both Babylonian and Tiberian vowel points the exact vowels of Adonai, the Hataf Patak, the Holam, and the Kametz. Notice that the Hataf Patak is not reduced, but is rather the exact vowel that appears under the Aleph in Adonai. This is very important because we have several examples within this fragment that show these vowels. And we have one example that clearly demonstrates a reduced schwa, showing that even during this time that Sahlan bin Abraham in 953 CE understood that those vowels represented the vowels of Adonai, whether they were reduced or whether they appeared with the full compound schwa, the Hataf Patak. Now this is very important to understand. In the archives of the St. Petersburg National Library in Russia, we see clearly that there are 3 distinct manuscripts that contain the exact full vowels of Adonai. Now remember, these are copies of the Masoretic text, but that these are fragmented copies. So therefore, the reason that people are talking about the Leningrad Codex and the Aleppo Codex is because these are complete documents, whereas these are fragments that show that back in time, 1,000 years ago, that these exact vowels of Adonai did appear in the Masoretic text. And this is very important because there are several examples, and we see over and over again the Hataf Patak is there for Adonai. Therefore, the entire idea that these are the genuine vowels crumble with this information is very clear. But then we begin to look at the examples of the vowels of Elohim, and it becomes even more obvious. If we examine the word Elohim, we will see that Elohim generally means mighty one. In various English versions, unfortunately, has been replaced with the word God, which does not do it justice. It appears 2,606 times in the Masoretic text. Elohim is spelled with the letters Aleph, Lamed, He, Yod, Mem. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, it is written fully with the letter Waw, demonstrating that Waw is a vowel. Therefore, you will see that appear. However, it is spelled defectively in the Masoretic text with only 5 letters. The Holam vowel point replaced the Waw. However, if we look at the vowels, we see Shwa Segal, which together is Hataf Segal, followed by Holam and Hirek. Now this is very important because in the Lisbon Tanakh, another copy of the Masoretic text, we see in the name YHWH, when it appears beside the word Adonai, we see the exact vowels of Elohim without being reduced. However, when you look in the Leningrad Codex and the Aleppo Codex, you will see that the compound schwa is reduced to a simple schwa, indicating the vowels of Elohim. So again, this is not that big of a deal like people are making it. Also, another thing that will be pointed out is that sometimes the vowels of Adonai, which they will say are the genuine vowels, appear without the holam, without the middle vowel point. And therefore, this makes it clear that when it appears with the middle vowel point, that the scribe accidentally left it in the text, even though that means that that accident happened more than 50 odd times in the text. So this is really big accident, not some small minute detail, but this is really important because we see in the Masoretic text that oftentimes the word Adonai is spelled without holam. So with or without holam is still pronounced Adonai. They do not pronounce it Adni. You know, they know that sometimes the holam is missing. Therefore, seeing the holam missing in YHWH proves nothing except for the fact that this also represents Adonai. We see the exact same thing take place with the vowels of Elohim. Sometimes the holam is missing. However, many times it appears.